Hello everybody, welcome back to my live stream. We will continue our learning journey in C++. Um, we had completed till loops and next we have functions in C++. So let us check that out. Let me first check my audio. Is the audio clear? I hope the audio is clear. Uh, I hope it's all good. If it is fine, I think we can move ahead. Let me just check it real quick. I guess it's good. All right, then we can continue. All right, so function, as you can see here, a function is a reusable block of code that performs a specific task. It divides a program into smaller logical units, improves readability, and makes code easier to maintain. A function can accept parameters, execute statements, and optionally return a value. A function allows you to write a piece of logic once and reuse it whenever needed in the program. This helps you keep your code clean, organized, easier to understand and manage. Alright, so that is about functions. There is a note. C++ also supports advanced functions like function overloading, default arguments, and inline functions, which give more flexibility compared to C. So that is, unique to C++. So let us try and do a program using functions. Simple function here. All right. So over here, a function is defined and then the function is called. So the function can be defined outside main as well. So it's defined outside main. And then inside the main we are just calling the function and we are just printing the value here. All right, let's try and do this. Okay, I'm just going to create functions.cpp and let's just copy the I think we just created a folder instead of a file. Let me just delete that. Right, let's just create a file. Functions. So let's just copy this and have uh, let's just write it manually. All right. So we have to define a function here. So basic syntax, we can just check out the syntax. Let's just remove this. So syntax is right? So this is the syntax here. All right. There is function, keyword, function name, and then the parameter. So that's how the syntax is. All right. There is a return type. Use void if there is no return value. All right. So basically the syntax is keyword, function name, and then the parameter. All right. So let me just check it out here. So this is a keyword, function name, and then the parameter over here. All right. So let me just do that. So end end square, and inside you go like end 5, just x, not 5. We're just giving x. And what do we do next? We have to return something here. Um, so we are doing x into x. Let's just do it like this, x into x. Okay, we have to, let me just do, all right. I think now we are good. Okay, so now inside this block, we have to call this function. So for that, how we do that is we just have to call the function, right? So we are calling the function here and storing it in result inside a new uh, variable called result, right? So let me just do that here. So I'm saying int int result equal to, I'm just saying square 5, so that now we have just done that. Now we have to just see out result, right? Result, which is the square is the square of the square of uh, or is it the square of 5? Okay, all right. We're just doing the square of 5, so I can just say square of 5, and then prints here, and then here inside we have result, and then endl. I guess we are good now. Let me just run this program. I hope you are good. All right, let me change this. Functions, and here we have to change functions. We run. Says no such file or directly. I think I've made a mistake here. Um, I'm sure I made some mistake here. Let me check. Functions.cpp. Did I make a some mistake has been made? Let me just check. Functions. Functions. All right. I'm not sure what happened there. Huh. Functions. What's going on here? Not able to understand. Functions.cpp. All right. Not sure what's wrong. Right. Uh, what is the error? What did we do wrong? I guess something went wrong here. Functions. I have no idea. Let me just. No idea what went wrong. Let's check. Let's check again. Oh, okay. In the actual name, I just missed the N. This is so silly. Okay, no problem. Happens. So I'm just going to update that. So functions. Now just save and let me just uh, let me just change that. Also, like if you are just starting to learn C++, or if you are currently learning C++, let me know at what stage you are in and what you are learning right now, so that we get to know. All right, let me just compile. Okay, now we have the output. The square of 5 is 25. So I hope you understood the purpose of functions here. So not sure how many of you are there in the live stream right now, but please like the video. If you're finding this helpful, I'll be reading the chat, so keep your chats coming. Um, please ask any questions if you have. Um, I highly encourage you asking them in the live chat, and if I'm able to answer any of them, I will. So, and if you also have anything to say, you can just drop it in the chat. I don't want to waste much time just reading the chat, so I will have some time after completing a few problems. So let me not do that now. So just keep asking your questions and posting your comments in the chat. Um, so yeah, let's continue. And here we just did it for 5. So suppose if we wanted for 10, so let me just change it to 10 and see if the save works, should work. For 10, it should print 100, which is what it did. So square of here, all right, here it should be 10. All right, that's so so the square of 10, 100, you will just get printed. All right, so that was the purpose of functions. So you can just call this function once it is defined over here. You can just call this function anywhere, like inside the main. You can just call it, and you just have to define this once. Don't have to suppose otherwise. If you had to do this operation every single time, imagine you're doing this operation, right? You have to write x this thing again and again and again. Now you don't need that. You just call this function and then you just get the square printed. Suppose for example, if you needed here, let us say, if you also needed the, for example, let's say um um function to check if the given number is prime, right? So let us say is prime, right? Is prime. Or let us not do that. Let's do something like if the given number is divisible by 2, right? Divisible by 2. So we can just say div by div div by 2. We just create a function div by 2 and then int, let's say y, we already used x. So div by 2y, and we can also just have x itself, right? Let's check if x itself is div by 2 divided by 2, right? So int x itself, and let's just let's just check if it is divided by 2. So if we are just asking the condition here, if all right, so we don't really need a function for this. um, we just need to do an operation, right? Only then we need a function if we need to do operation. We're just checking a condition, so we don't have to create a function for that. So let us do something else. Let's do um, multiply multiply by 2, multiply by 2, right? So whatever the number is, it just multiplies that number by 2, right? So I'm just going to say return here, return x into 2, right? X into 2. So now you have declared x here. So now if you call this function multiply by 2 here, int, I'm going to say int, I've already used the result, so I will use um, product product multiply by 2, and then the number I will just give it as 10 itself again. Let us check. So this thing again, the same thing comes down, and the number given number multiplied by 2 is 2 is, and then here you have to just call this product. So product and then handle. All right. So now let's check now. Or here we are only having 10, right? So we can just say 10 multiplied by 2 is, and then we can just get the result. Let me just run. All right, so that was it. We got the output. So like we defined two functions and then we call those two functions. And in the same program, we all found the square of 10, also like 10 multiplied by 2, which is 20. So we found both in the same program. So simply put, this is the purpose of functions. You can just define it once and you can use it multiple times. How many ever times you want, you can just use that function. So let me dive a bit more deeper in this. Let me just check what else we have to. All right, purpose of a function in function declaration in C++. All right, function must be declared before it is used. So the compiler knows its name, return type, and parameters. This can be done either by defining the function before main or by declaring it using a function prototype if the definition appears later. Alright, this allows the compiler to correctly recognize and validate function calls in larger or multi-file program. So preferably you can define the function before the main. Um, calling a function is called The function is used by calling its name followed by parentheses, passing required arguments if any, which executes the code inside the function. So this is how we did it. Makes sense. All right. Um, so this is the void function, like using void. So you don't have to have a return value here because it's void. And if you call greet here, it just prints welcome to programming. We have defined greet. All right. Uh, what else? Int result. So result is defined here. Two. We have two variables. So we have two variables. So we define two, and yeah, that makes sense. Just give me a second, guys. I'll be back in a bit. All right. If you if you like the video, please consider subscribing to the channel and please let me know your questions so far, whatever we have discussed, and if you have any suggestions about what we should learn next, and what kind of live streams you prefer watching, and everything, I would gladly appreciate your suggestions. Just give me just give me a few seconds, guys. I'll be back. All right. So let's just continue. Let me see if you have any. Let's just continue. Um, all right. So what is next? Parameters or arguments. All right. Okay. A function can accept input values called arguments, which are passed during the function call, received through type parameters defined inside the function parentheses. So it can accept something called arguments. So this is the arguments. All right. Makes sense. So yeah. And here this is a void function again. Um, we are just printing num1, num2. All right, fine. And num is defined with one integer parameter n, so it can accept one print only one integer value at a time. Okay, right. Let's just move on. A function can only take as many arguments as specified in the definition, and it is compulsory to pass them while calling it. Also, they should be of the same type as in the function definition. Types of function in C++. All right, you have some types of functions. Library function, you have library functions. So these are built-in functions provided by C++ standard libraries such as sqrt, abs, getline. You can use them by including appropriate headers like iostream, cmath, or string. User-defined functions, these are functions created by the programmer to perform. Okay, we know that. So some are predefined and some are user defined. So the predefined are these. You can directly get the square root, right? This is for float, this is for double, and this is for long double. I hope you guys know what is float, double, and long double. So float here you have float, which can take decimal values, and double, which is can store more, and long double is even larger decimal value, so it can hold more. Usually you would just use double. So here you have sqrt, double arg. This is the syntax, and the arg is you have to define. And let's just try this one. For using these predefined functions, you need to add cmath, and I'm not sure what this is. Let me just IO man IP. Let me just check that. Um, Header file that gives you access to stream manipulators. All right. You see, this is the thing about learning, right? Like you just learn one thing and just you just keep diving in deeper and deeper. So that's how it works. IOMAP, IOMANI, IOMAN IP, whatever it is. Um, so you have this header file, and it gives you access to these functions, which is it gives you access to quite a lot of functions. So there are about 11 functions predefined. You don't need to really know all of it. You have to just need to know the necessary and frequently used ones. And as soon as you need it, like you can use them whenever you need it. All right. Yeah. So for SQRT, this is not the header file that you need. You just need, I guess, CMath. Let's check CMath as well. Let's check what we have in CMath. All right. Where is CMath? Let's check what we have. All right. These are the CMath functions. Returns. There's quite a lot here in CMath, actually. A lot more. Yeah. So, I mean, you don't have to remember all these to do it. Like, you can just refer this if you need anything. You just need to know what are available to you. For example, there is something like ABS that returns absolute value of X, and there is something like, Fmod where it just returns the floating point remainder of X divided by Y. Floating point reminder is just reminder of the decimal. So you can just check out floating point reminder, floating point reminder, leftover value after dividing two numbers when the quotient is constrained to an integer, right? So, so that's what is a floating point reminder. So that's what about. So in the CMath, there you have all kinds of math functions. So inside CMath is where you have actually SQRT. I guess we failed to spot it. Let me just find that. Where is the SQRT? Yeah, there you go. Returns the square of. So if you're doing some math operation, I suggest you to just call this, use this like, library. So let's just do that. All right, let's go to VS Code. Let's try using CMath. So I'm just going to define CMath here. Hash include CMath. All right, so that's defined. Now we can just say, I'm just going to comment this program here. We don't need that. Let me just create double, create a function double sqrt and then double, again the return value is also, I need double, so And then let me just define it. I'm just going to return, yeah, just return X, or here, I have said double X, all right, and I've just returned X. I don't need to do, it's a predefined function, so uh, let me just go in the main program, main block, and here I'm going to say double result, double result equal to sqrt, again calling the function sqrt2. So, or maybe let's say sqrt9, sqrt9, and then I'm just going to see out this the square the square root of 9s, and then just I'm going to say result. Uh, okay, handle. I think we are good. I think we are good to go now. Let's try if we get the output. Let's try and see if we get the output. Have you missed something here? Okay, I think, all right, let's just, I think we have to, let's just say return 0. I don't think we need that. I'm just going to add it. All right, let's compile. Yeah, so we got the output. Yeah, so it's it's the basic purpose of functions. You can similarly just call any predefined function. If you know any predefined function that is used very much, like very often, you can let me know in the comments. Let me see what are actually, I don't know how many of you are watching, but please let me know if you have any questions, or if you have something to say. Um, that way it is more interactive. Let me just check what are the predefined functions that are actually used a lot. So frequently used, frequently used predefined functions in C++. Let me check. All right. Okay. There is sqrt. Yeah. POW, you can find the power raises basics to the power of exponent. Why? You know what? Actually, this is also very helpful. Like, yeah, ABS is just returns absolute positive value of a number, absolute value. All right. So basically, like works like modulus. So let's try and check if that is what is happening for ABS. Um, all right, let's check that as well. So I'm going to say double, let's just copy, let's just copy and change it to ABS, and I'm just going to have double double result 2. I'm just going to say result 2, and then ABS again, it's just 9. I'm just going to say 9. Um, let's just print here. Let's just have negative 9 because we need the absolute value, right? So, that case, I think we'll have to also change this to just y. So I'm just going to change that to y. All right, all right. So I'm just going to the absolute value of 9 is result 2, right? So I'm just going to say result 2, and let me see what happens. All right, I expect it to print positive 9. Yeah, so absolute value of 9 is just all right. We just said 9 here is actually minus 9. So, yep. So we passed 9 correctly over there. Yeah, absolute value of minus 9 is 9. So, yep, that's good. I think that is also very clear. Seal is, I think, rounds a decimal number up to the nearest integer. So that's like the ceiling value. Um, I hope you guys have heard of ceiling and floor. It's quite extensively used. If you know C, I think this is very familiar. This concept is used in C. Um, so basically, seal is just like it just goes to the next, basically just like rounding, right? Normal math rounding, and floor is um, even if it is like, for example, you know, rounds a decimal number down to the nearest integer. So even if you have like, for example, 7.9, you would expect it to be like the next number, right? Like 8, but it is floor, so it will only take 7, right? So floor works like that. So that is floor. Let's just check that both seal and floor. So we have two functions here. Um, Seal and floor. I'm just going to copy this. So we need to check seal and floor. Let's just also copy this and just, all right. Okay, so just change it to seal, this one, seal. And here I'm going to change this one to floor. And this, let's let it be Z. We have used X, Y, Z, so I'm going to use here Q, and return Z, return Q, return Q. All right. And now we have to call these functions. Let me just do that. I'm going to say result 3, result 4, and here it is sealing value. So seal, what should we take? Let's say 7.5. Let's see what happens. 7.5 is the value I'm going to take. And here I'm going to take the value Let's change this to floor. Here I'm just going to take the value as 7.9. 7.9. Let's just see what happens. Let me just copy this. I'm just going to paste this over here, and here the ceiling, the ceiling, the ceiling value is, and the floor value is, the floor value is, here it is result 3, and here it is result 4. All right, so I hope it is correct. So let me just double check. I think we are good. So let's just save and run. Let me just save and run now. Okay. All right. What happened here? The ceiling value is 7.5. I think something went wrong here. Let me just check. Something went wrong here. Should we have done it as a float? I think we should have done it as a float here, maybe. Let's change it to float. I think it should have been a float here. Float. Let's try it as a float. All right. Float. We're just doing float instead of double. Let's check. Float. All right. Float. Here. Float again. I'm trying to think what went wrong there. Float. All right. Or maybe let's see what happens. Let's just see what happens. All right. All right. I think we got it now. So it should have been float. I think we got it like that because when we are considering the result as well, we did double. So that can't be done, right? I think maybe even here double works, but taking the result, it just can't be a double, I guess. All right. So the concept is just that, like, as I said, if it is, above like zero point 0.5, it just goes to the next value, next integer value, not the decimal. So goes to 8, right? And it is the next round integer value, right? And if it is floor, doesn't matter, whatever it is, even if it is zero point 0.9, it doesn't go to zero point 0.8, it comes back to the floor, which is 7. So if you want to check again, like if you change this to zero point 0.4, you can see again this will become 7 here instead of 8. So let's try that. Let's just try that. It just printed 8 again. All right. Something. Let me just check again. I don't know why it printed 8 again. Let me just check. All right. So maybe my definition of ceiling is a bit incorrect here. Um, I think the ceiling values also like if it is above zero point 0.1, to anything, it doesn't matter. Like it still goes to the higher value. Ceiling, so it's not the rounding, I think. Ceiling in C++. Um, so here, as you can see, yeah. So yeah, so it just goes to the next value, doesn't matter. Like after the decimal, if there is like point 0.1 up till point 0.9, it just goes to the next value, next round integer value. And if it is floor, it just comes back to the, yeah, that just makes sense. So makes sense, yeah. All right, so I was slightly off there with my definition of ceiling. That's, yeah, that's fine. So that was ceiling and floor. What else do we have here? Um, I think infrequently used, we have a little bit more. Okay, this is a bit more advanced, I guess. Um, let's check that later. Let's continue for now. I think, I don't know how much time I've been live. I think it's been quite a while, so I think maybe it will be too much if I just keep going. I think for today we are good. We have completed sum of functions uh, or a part of functions. So let's just stop it here for now. Let me know if you like this live stream and if you found something beneficial. And let me know what are you currently learning? Is it like functions or is it loops or whatever you're learning right now? Let me know. And yeah, let me know your suggestions on what kind of live streams you would like to see in the future. So yeah, I can subscribe if you enjoyed watching. And until tomorrow or in the next live stream,